Okay, just connect an audio check. Working. Yes, it is working. Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to Oliveboard. Myself Jay Sharma, and we have came with the compilation of Press India Bureau press releases in between 21st of November to the 26th of November, right? So all these news that have been part of the PIB and that are relevant with the examinations of RBI, NABARD and SEBI has been covered in today's video, right? So let's start our discussion quickly. We'll be covering one by one news events, and we are already aware about the format of our this particular class. That first there will be a slide of an particular news event. For example, this particular news is that India has host the second India CARICOM summit, right? So that is the Caribbean countries kind of thing. So based upon this, the first we will get an overview of this particular event, where we can say that this was the second India CARICOM summit that was hosted by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and this strengthened the ties with the Caribbean community. Right. So now there are almost 18 countries that are part of the Caribbean communities, for example, the Barbados or etc. So every country that are surrounding the Central America and the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, they are known as the Caribbean countries, right? So the key highlight of the summit was that they have announced an agreement of 200 million line of credit for CARICOM. So that means India has announced that India will be supporting the CARICOM countries for projects like climate resilience and infrastructure projects. Similarly, we have deepened the cooperation in the renewable energy. By this we can say, and in health sector and also the disaster management, we have given a special emphasis on India's digital public infrastructure, majorly for the Caribbean development. That is for the development of the Caribbean countries, right? So that was the key highlight. The second thing about this is the value addition of any news event, right? And after that, we will be understanding the examples and the past relevance, right? So this will be the format for all of our videos for with respect to the PIBs. So if you talk about the value addition, that we could say that this particular cooperation is promote trade in various kind of sectors like pharmaceuticals, because India is exporting various kind of pharmaceutical medicines. So India is looking as a market. Similarly, there has been a textile and also the agriculture sector. So these sectors will be a major focus with respect to the India, and India, that is the major impact, that why have India collaborated with the Caribbean countries, that is to increase the India's trade in sectors like pharmaceuticals, textiles and also the agriculture nations. So this will boost India's exports through better market access, because the Caribbean countries are having a huge number of population, and this huge number of population will be providing India a very good market that will over which India will be exporting its products like pharmaceutical. India is also known as the pharmaceutical exporting country. India is well known for the textile and also for the agriculture produce, right? If we talk about the strategic importance between this, then we can say that this will strengthen India's presence in the particular region, specifically in the Western Hemisphere. Why? Because the Western Hemisphere, because the Caribbean countries are on the west side of the continent, that is around the Atlantic Ocean, the Central America, and the rest of the region, that is the Western Hemisphere. And this also showcase that India, being the south of the equator, or let's say India being the south of the Tropic of Cancer, and also the Caribbean countries are the south of the Tropic of Cancer and even below the equator. So this is promoting the South-South cooperation, right? And if we talk about from the environmental point of view, then we can say that we are collaborating in the renewable energy that is helping us to mitigate the climate change and also the impacts in the island nation. We are also focusing on the disaster preparedness that is aligning with the global climate adaptation goals. So that is part of the COP26. That is part of the COP21. That was around 2015 Paris Agreement. Okay, so all this collaboration was part of the climate deal that we were having. So that is the environmental benefit. That means, I mean, what was that climate deal is all about? If I be briefing about you, then India, during the Paris Agreement, there was a scenario that we have to determine the nationally determined contribution, that every nation or every country will be determining their contribution with respect to the climate change, and among them the most aligned was the investing in the renewable energy, that is the in renewable energy. So India is investing in renewable energy in other country that fulfills India's contribution in nationally determined or the goal that India has mentioned in this Paris agreement. So based upon this, they are saying that this aligns with India's global adaptation goals. Okay. If we discuss its examples in the past relevance, then we could say that the example with respect to this, that India has already provided the COVID-19 vaccines to several CARICOM nations under the Vaccine Maitri initiative that India has launched previously. India has also been given a renewable projects in Caribbean supported under the International Solar Alliance. Now, this International Solar Alliance was also launched in 2015 in line with the Paris Agreement. Right, this International Solar Alliance was launched by two countries. First is India, and second is by France. Now, what exactly is this International Solar Alliance? If I brief you about it, then we can say that if we talk about the Earth, in Earth, this is the particular equator, Tropic of Cancer, and Tropic of Capricorn. So, from geographical point of view, we could say the sun energy is maximum between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. So what does they are trying to say? That every country who is part of Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn should have solar panels. And for that, I mean, that needs a funding. And for that funding, India and France created an international solar alliance, right? So that means we will be using the solar energy and we will be generating it as a renewable energy kind of stuff. Okay, so that was the International Solar Alliance. But the past relevance we could say with respect to this particular summit, then we can say that this is built on the success of the first India CARICOM Summit 2019, and this also reflect India's consistent support for small island developing states under the global frameworks, because India has also always been supported the small island or the small developing nation. I mean, if you can recall that India has released its COVID-19 vaccine under Vaccine Maitri initiative. So similarly, India has given several kind of money or funding or various kind of initiatives has been launched for the support of the developing nations like that. Okay. Now the next news event is that Charaideo Maidams of Assam become the world's heritage site status that draws global attention. Now, what actually the Medams means? Medams are like a pyramid-shaped structure who are the burial, right? If we, I mean, if we can understand this by an overview, where we could say that Charadio Maidam is in Assam, right? That was granted the World Heritage Site status by UNESCO. And these is also known as the pyramids of Assam, because these are the burial mounds. Burial mounds means the dead remains of the people, right? So there are over 42 preserved Maidams, and that Maidam has been granted as a World Heritage status by UNESCO, right? So what is the significance of this? Because this particular burial mounds or the Charadio Maidam representing the culture of the Ahom dynasty. So that means Ahom dynasty's rich culture and the historical heritage has been got an international recognition by the UNESCO, right? And this is part of the Assam, which are also known as the Pyramid of Assam. So what does this symbolizing? It's symbolizing of one simple thing, that the advanced burial practices and the architectural skills of the Ahom dynasty, right? So that is the overview of this particular news. Now, if we understand the further value addition from this particular news event, then we can say that from the value addition point of view, that this will ultimately boost the tourism, right? Because whenever a particular site is being recognized by UNESCO, that means it will be all over the news. And the people who love to travel to experience new places will visit such places, and this will ultimately increase the tourism of that particular scenario or that particular place, and it will further create job opportunities in Assam, and it will increase the local economic development, right? It will also enhance Assam's visibility in the global tourism map, because this has been recognized internationally. So, I mean, Assam will not just visit the national, but they will also visit the international. Okay. The cultural significance would be that it preserves and promotes the rich heritage of the Ahom dynasty. It will even strengthen India's narrative on its ancient civilizational achievements, right? So from that point of view, I mean, whenever we are seeing any particular news with respect to India's culture or the heritage that has been recognized internationally or that has been recognized nationally, so all these are explaining that India's ancient civilization has been achieved in the modern era, that it has been recognized in the modern era, that too at the international platform. So that is quite a huge significant for India, right? There was a policy alignment of this, that was a campaign has been launched, Dekho Apna Desh initiative. This was launched by Government of India to promote the domestic tourism, and this has also been aligned with UNESCO's vision, that is to safeguard the global cultural heritage. So that means any heritage should be safeguarded. Why we want to safeguard our heritage? Because we want to preserve our culture, we want to preserve our heritage. That is the main important point. Okay. Now, if you understand the examples and the past relevance from this point of view, then there was another example, that Rajasthan's Jaipur city has also been received a UNESCO World Heritage Site. After this, there has been a 30% rise in tourism, right? So that means that is the major impact of UNESCO's World Heritage Site. It is not just about to safeguard the cultural heritage, but it is also to boost the local tourism. So whenever you are boosting the local tourism, that means there will be a recognition from the international scenarios like UNESCO, and that will boost the local tourism, and ultimately it has increased the 30%. So similarly, the sites like Qutub Minar or Ajanta Cave, they have even also contributed significantly to India's culture tourism after the recognition from the UNESCO. Okay, the past relevance, we could say this is built on Assam's efforts to preserve its cultural heritage. The nomination of the Majoli Island, if we can recall, the Majoli Island has also been nominated for the same and has also been recognized as a World Heritage Site, right? And this will even strengthen India's, UNESCO's World Heritage List. So that means India is representing more and more heritages, or more and more cultural or heritage sites in the UNESCO's World Heritage List. Okay. Now let's move towards the next news. That is the Gwalior's first modern Gaushala with compressed biogas plant. Right. So this has been launched recently. I mean, in this particular image, you can see that there is a Gaushala, and from this Gaushala, we are creating a biogas plant with the help of the waste that has been generated from the bovine animals like cow. Okay, so this is what this image is trying to portray. Okay, if you understand the event, that India has inaugurated India's first modern self-sufficient Gaushala, right? With a state of art, that is the compressed biogas plant, that is CBG, the compressed biogas plant has been achieved. So what is the objective is this? To promote the waste to energy solution, because in this particular figure, what we have observed, that there is a Gaushala, and the Gausala's animals are generating waste. So what government is trying to do? Government is trying to use this waste to create energy by using the biogas plant, and this biogas plant will further be further increasing the energy that we can use for electricity purposes or other kind of scenarios that we can use. Okay, so the objective is simple, that is to waste to energy solution and also to boost the rural economy. It has two key features. Among them, the first is the compressed biogas plant production from cow dung is for the local energy needs. Okay, second thing, that they will be integrating the organic farming with the community initiative. So that means whatever the organic farming we are doing, that will be interconnected with the community initiative. For example, the collection of the animal waste, That is the main thing. I mean, you have to collect all the animal waste, and that animal waste should be put into the biogas plant there where it will be processed. So once it will be processed, then and only then we can create energy from it. Okay, right. So if we move forward to understand its economic impact, then we can say that obviously it will generate additional income for farmers, because earlier farmer used to get income by only selling the let's say only milk, because the dairy farming he was trying to do to the sale of biogas or slurry. I mean, earlier it was used to sell only milk, but now they can use the waste of the cow, and from that waste they can create a biogas, and that biogas can be sold now. So that means now there is an extra source of income. Earlier there were only milk as a source of income, and now also a biogas and also the slurry that can be sold as an income, right? So this will reduce India's dependence on fossil fuels and cutting energy costs, because India is very much dependent on the fossil fuel, especially on the coal. So this will reduce India's dependence on the fossil fuel, because we are converting all these gaushalas into biogas plants. So these are quite helpful. This will also create employment opportunities with respect to the biogas, or with respect to the gaushalas management, because once we are saying that okay, the more waste we will generate from the cow, the more we will process into the plant, and the more energy we will generate. So that means we have to get more and more cows. The more cows we will be having, the more waste will be generating. The more cows we are having, the more food we will be providing. So that means this will create a chain of effect that will increase employment opportunities or the work opportunities to all the sectors that are interconnected. Okay, from an environmental point of view, it is very common that this will reduce greenhouse gas emission, because we won't be dependent much on the fossil fuels. We are shifting from greenhouse to the cleaner houses, right? By recycling the agricultural waste. This will even support the organic farming, because we are providing bio slurry as a fertilizer, because this slurry can be used as a fertilizers, right? Because we are using the waste as a manure also, because we are decomposing the waste, and once we are decomposing that, generates into a let's say slurry, that means the fertilizers, right? And this whole initiative has been aligned with India's national bioenergy mission and also the Swachh Bharat mission, right? So this you can quote in the examination, in the phase 2 examinations, right? And it will also advance India's Panchamrit goals. Now this Panchamrit goals was again part of COP26. See, COP26 is very, very important. So whenever you are appearing for the examination, make sure that you have read all the features or the key highlights of the COP26. Okay, so this was COP26 of the UNFCCC. Okay. Next are the examples in the past relevance. Then we could say there were similar initiatives in Maharashtra, Satara district, that have shown significant savings in energy cost. We have also biogas plants under the Gobardhan Yojana, right? That was also been launched, where that government is promoting or providing subsidies for the setting up of all the biogas plants, and to increase farmers' income as an additional income. The past relevance, we could say that this builds on India's commitment to the sustainable energy as highlighted in the COP29 deliberation, right? It also enhances India's rural development under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Okay, so that means these. I mean, if you are using such kind of codes in your mains, in your phase 2 examination, that is the descriptive questions, so they will be very much helpful, and there will be value additive material or the content that you can use in your answers, and that will fetch you much extra marks. The next news event is the culmination of Pan India Coastal Defense Exercises, that is Sea Vigil 24. Okay, the event is simple, that there was a completion of a basic exercise named as Sea Vigil, that is India's largest coastal defense exercise. Its objective was to evaluate the preparedness of the coastal security agencies and ensure the maritime safety. A very simple news. The key highlights of this that it involved the participation of Indian Navy, Coast Guard, and in fact various state and central agencies. It also covered the entire coastline and island territories of India. The strategic importance is that it will increase India's ability to combat maritime threats. I mean, the major threats we are saying that smuggling, illegal fishing, and the piracy are the major threats from the maritime point of view, and it will also strengthen India's inter-energy coordination, because as you have seen that it has been participated by Indian Navy, Coast Guard, and various state and central agencies. So by this exercise, this increase the coordination among these agencies. Okay. So in case there has been an issue, so they can coordinate accordingly. From economic point of view, we could say that we are securing our trade routes that are very, very important. They should remain uninterrupted, right? They should be remain uninterrupted all the time, right? It will also boost our investors' confidence in India's port and shipping. Why? Because we are saying that we have secured our trade routes. So once our trade routes are secured, that means people will be saying that investors would be observing that my investment is safe or not. So if they are saying that my investment is safe, so based upon this, we could say that, okay, trade routes are safe. Then we can say that investor will have a confidence, then they will further boost their investment in port and shipping infrastructure. Now this has been aligned with the Sagarmala project, that is for the maritime development, and this also aligned with the Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative for regional maritime security. You have to use such facts. These are very, very important to score you extra marks. If we discuss the examples in the past relevance, then we could say that Sea Vigil as complements naval exercises like Milan, Malabar, ensuring the comprehensive security coverage. I mean, these are the lessons that we have learned from the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, when we have observed that the many terrorists has been coming from the sea route, especially from the Mumbai, right? So this led to the conceptualization that we need a large scale exercises. We need every agency should be coordinating among themselves. So that would be very much helpful. From the past relevance, we could say this builds on the success of Sea Vigil 22, right? That has identified the gap in coastal monitoring and response. And it also highlight India's proactive approach to maritime challenges under the Quad framework, right? So this is also helpful. The next news event is the NTPC flags of green hydrogen businesses in Leh, right? So green hydrogen businesses has been started, buses has been started in Leh. So this is what this picture is trying to say. If you understand it's an event, then we can say that NTPC has launched the green hydrogen bus in Leh. This is part of India's clean energy transition, and their objective is simple: to make public transport sustainable, especially in high altitude regions. Because in high altitude regions, the public transports are very, very expensive, right? And the point is there are not much public transport. People are majorly rely on the private transports only, especially in the Himalayan regions. The key highlight is that this hydrogen has been produced through renewable energy sources, and the first of its kind initiative in India for zero emission mobility in challenging terrains. The value addition is that this reduced dependence on imported fossil fuels, right? That is a very simple scenario. We will be further exploring the hydrogen sector. We'll be further exploring the production of sector, and we can use this hydrogen for various kind of purposes, and majorly for automobile purpose, right? And from the environmental point of view, we could say this reduce the greenhouse gas emission and will contribute to net zero emission by 2070. Now, what exactly net zero emission means? Net zero emission means, let's say a country like India has made 100 units of carbon emission, right, by burning fossil fuels. Now, how can I make this net zero? By investing into such kind of initiatives by which I will be reducing the 100 units of carbon emission. So first it has been increased, second it has been decreased. So maybe from we can say that by promoting the public transports like hydrogen buses, With the hydrogen buses, I would be able to reduce the 100 units of carbon emission, and soon I will achieve the goal of net zero by 2070. Right, so that means that is the goal of India, that by 2070 India will become a net zero country, like that. Now, this has been aligned with the National Green Hydrogen Mission. This has also been aligned with the FAME 2 scheme. Now, what is a FAME 2 scheme? It is for the faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and electric vehicles. That is the FAME 2 scheme. So, these two schemes has been aligned with. The examples in the past relevance, we can say that the hydrogen bus are already operational in cities like London and Seoul, South Korea, for public transport. So similar green hydrogen pilot project were underway in Rajasthan also, and even in Gujarat. So these are on the pilot project. The past relevance is it is built on NTPC's earlier success with solar powered cold storage and electric buses. So that means they are using the solar power for cold storage scenarios, and this has also been aligned with India's national hydrogen energy roadmap. Right. So by this way, we can say this is quite helpful. Right. Next news is National Gopal Ratna Awards 2024 has been announced, and this has been announced for the dairy, or let's say national animal husbandry. So the winner of the National Gopal Ratna Awards were announced by the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying. So what is their objective? That they want to contribute, they want to recognize the contribution in the dairy sector, including the cow welfare and the productivity enhancement. So they had three categories in this. First is the best dairy farmer. Second is the best artificial insemination technician. Third, best dairy cooperative societies. The impact would be very simple, that it is encouraging the innovation and efficiency, specifically in dairy industry, that is India's largest agri business sector. It is even supporting the rural livelihoods by recognizing the best practices and intensifying the higher productivity. The policy relevance, we can say that it will strengthen India's Rashtra Gokul mission, whose aim is to conserve and develop indigenous cattle breeds. It is aligned with the operational flood and subsequent dairy reforms. The environmental impact will be very simple, that it is promoting the sustainable cattle farming practices. If you understand its example and the past relevance, then we could say that all the awardees have implemented practices like automated milking, feed optimization, and reducing the cost by 20%. Cooperatives like Amul have scaled innovative farming models across the states. And the past relevance is that this is built on India's legacy as the largest producer of milk globally. Right? So these are quite helpful things. And this also reflects the success stories from the earlier edition of the Gopal Ratna Awards. Okay. His next news event is our Prime Minister Modi has inaugurated Orissa Parba. Now, Parba is like a fair. It's a fair of art and handicraft or cultural and heritage, like that. So, our Prime Minister has inaugurated the Parba. Now, what is a particular event? That this particular Parba is celebrating the rich cultural heritage of Odisha. Now, that is very important. Now, again, we are seeing another news who is reflecting that the rich cultural heritage should be recognized by not just at the domestic level, but even at the international level. His objective is to highlight the contributions of Odisha to Indian history, art, and spirituality, and while also promoting its traditional craft and cuisine. Right, so these are its objectives. So key highlight is simple. It's focusing on Pattachitra art. Pattachitra art is a simple thing. That means there is a sheet of paper, over will be there is an art, or there is a painting, we could say. Right, this paper is quite different. is not an ordinary paper in which we are writing. It's a quite different kind of paper. So they are promoting on Patta Chitra art. They are also promoting on the Odissi dance, the classical dance forms, and also the Odia cuisine. Right? Cuisine means a food kind of thing. I mean, what kind of cuisine they are having. And also it is emphasizing on the maritime history of Odisha. Why? Because Odisha is on the east coast of India. That means they have the maritime history, and this maritime history made its cultural significance more diverse. Because whenever we are saying that we are living in the port area, then we can say there has been a diversification. There will be many travelers coming to India or coming to the Odisha, that will further strengthen the cultural significance of not just Odisha but also of the other country. And in fact, Odisha's culture will also be shared into the other countries, right? So by this way, we could say this is emphasizing the maritime history and also the ancient trade links. We further explore the impact is simple, that it will boost the tourism and the handicraft exports, especially in the Pattachitra and filigree work. This will also create livelihood opportunities for majorly artisans and other small scale industry. I mean, all these things, what they are emphasizing on? These are emphasizing on MSME. Now, why MSMEs are very important from India's point of view? Because these MSMEs are hiring the artisans. Now, whenever we are saying artisans, so that means these are labor intensive. So, if an MSME is growing, they will be hiring more labor. So, if we are hiring them more labor, we will be providing them more wages. So, if you're providing them more wages, they will demand more in the economy. So, when we are saying the purchasing power of labor is increasing, that means they will be demanding the basic goods. So if you are saying that they are demanding the basic goods, the production of the basic goods has to increase. So if production increase, that means the GDP will increase. With the help of GDP, we are saying the national income will increase, and if national income will increase, my per capita income will increase. So if my per capita income will increase, that means my purchasing power will increase. So this time, as I am not a labor, so I will not demand much of the basic goods, rather I will demand luxury goods, because my purchasing power has already been increased. So I will be demanding more, let's say air conditioners or an automobile or a four-wheeler car or etc. So that means on the one side there has been an increased demand of the basic goods, and on the other side, like people like me, there will be increased demand in the luxury goods. So now we can say that there will be an increase in production on both the basic goods as well as the luxury goods, and this will increase further production, GDP, and again the per capita income will again and again increase, right? So this is how the economy has been working all along. Okay. So that was the economic impact. If we move towards the cultural significance, then we could say that this shows the influence of Odisha's Jagannath culture in uniting Indian spiritual traditions, right? This is very famous from Odisha. It also revived the awareness of Odisha's ancient maritime links with Southeast Asia, right? Because it's, as we have said, it's on the east side of India, so they will be having certain maritime links from the ancient times with the Southeast Asia. There will also be policy alignment, is like it has support the Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat initiative. Now this was a very good initiative that was launched by Government of India and our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and which they are highlighting under the Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat that there should be a one India, and that one India should be a united India. Because we have so much of diverse culture, we have so much of diverse language, religion, diverse people, but yet we have to be united in the name of India. So that is what they are trying to say, that it should support the Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat alignment initiative for cultural integration, right? This also aligned that India is pushing for promoting the local artisans under the vocal for local. Now this has also been important, that India is promoting the vocal for local. Now why they are promoting the vocal for local? Because they want to increase the manufacturing capacity of especially the MSMEs. So are you understanding the depth of MSMEs, that how MSMEs are important from development point of view, or we are saying that why government is emphasizing so much that we have to increase the production in MSMEs, or the growth of the MSMEs are very, very important. If you can understand this example, then we can say this Pattachitra artisans has reported 30% rise in demand post participation in similar cultural events. So that means their production has increased, their work opportunities has increased, their economic growth has increased, and similarly, this particular micro, small, or medium enterprise will ultimately increase. Similarly, the Raghu Rajpur artisan village in Odisha is a UNESCO recognized hub for traditional craft. So that means now these artisans will increase. So now that means we have seen two examples of Pattachitra artisan and Raghu Rajpur artisans whose production or the craft will further increase the cultural events. It will further increase the demand of their artists, of their artisans, and ultimately their income will increase and this particular sector will increase. I mean, that is what happened during the British rule. I mean, what British has done, British has actually destroyed these artisans. They have destroyed these artisans. So ultimately, Indians did not left with any kind of artistic skills that they were knowing from the generations. So now they were unskilled as in the front of Britishers, because they are no more. They do not have any kind of artistic skills that is required by the British. They even do not have any kind of educational skill that was required by the British. So they were unskilled, and this has forced India to go into the agriculture sector. So that is a colonial legacy, even though that is not part of this particular scenarios. Okay. The past relevance, we could say that this is built on Odisha's historical maritime trade, and it is reflected on the Bali Jatra festival, right? It also strengthened the Odisha's recognition as a hub of spirituality and the tradition. Next news is Navika Sagar Parikrama 2 embarks on second leg, right? Now, what exactly is this news event? Navika means it's related to the woman or the female. So the event is the INS trainee under the Navika Sagar Parikrama 2 began its second leg from the Australia to New Zealand. Their objective is to increase or promote the concept of women empowerment and ocean conservation while showcasing India's naval capabilities. Now the question over here remains that, okay, they want to increase the women empowerment, but the question over here remains that why we want to increase the women empowerment. That is the main question. That why we want to empower women in India. Why government is emphasizing so much in empowering women and not empowering men, even though there are many educated male who are unemployed, right? They are educated, but they are unemployed. That means they are not empowered, but yet government wants to empower women. Why? Because women compose of almost 50% of India's population. So if India wants to become a developed country, we have to take 100% participation from all the sectors of the society, irrespective of the gender. It means every gender should work for the growth or the development of this particular country. Then and only then we will become the developed country. Hence, government is emphasizing so much that we have to empower the women in India, right? So the key feature of this, they have all women crew who is navigating the globe. They are focusing on environmental awareness and also the sustainable practices in maritime operations. Now, this is a very good initiative that has been launched by the India, that they have picked up a set of women Navy officers, and they have said that you have to navigate the whole globe, where you will be promoting that women empowerment is very important. You will also be promoting the ocean conservation by showcasing that India's naval capabilities can conserve our ocean. Okay. The value addition from this point of view, that it is strategically very significant, because it is demonstrating India's naval expertise and commitment to global maritime cooperation. That is the one thing. Another is it is increasing bilateral ties because the host nation among these, that means let's say they were before they were in Australia, then they were in New Zealand. So that means every host nation will increase the bilateral trade or bilateral ties with India. It will also increase India's naval expertise. Okay, so the social impact, we could say this will encouraging women's participation in defense as well as the maritime sector. It will also inspire the youth to pursue careers in STEM, right? And oceanography. So that is what they are being trying to do, right? That the ultimate aim of this exercise is they want women to create awareness that okay, you have to educate yourself, you have to learn about oceanography, you have to become empowered, you have to learn about or build your career in STEM, so that will helpful not just for you but even for the country or the nation you are want to serve. So it is aligned with the scheme that is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao initiative for women empowerment, and this also support the Indo-Pacific Oceans initiative for sustainable maritime development. So these are the value addition that we are seeing. But there are certain examples. Before this, there was the first Navika Sagar Parikrama was started in 2017, that was completed by all women crew that enhanced the global recognition of India as a maritime strength. Now the INS trainee is named after a famous Tara trainee temple in Odisha, that is symbolizing the strength and the resilience. So that means even the vehicle that is INS trainee is named after a woman, right? This was the second round. The first was the Navika Sagar Parikrama, that was in 2017, completed by again all women crew. And the past relevance, we could say that this is growing India's focus on blue economy initiatives and maritime diplomacy. It also aligns with the Sagar initiative, that is security and growth for all in the region vision. Okay. Next news is that cabinet approves the national mission on natural farming. Right, cabinet has approved the national mission on natural farming. I have to charge my laptop. Okay. Yes. Next news is cabinet approves the national mission on natural farming. So what does it mean? That the objective of this, that we are promoting the sustainable agriculture practices majorly to reduce the dependency on chemical fertilizers and also to improve the soil health through natural farming methods. The key feature of this, that we are focusing on zero budget natural farming, right? We are utilizing the cow dung, urine and bioresources for the nutrient management. We are also aiming to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and even improve the farmer income, right? So these are the key feature of this. The major thing is that we are doing the natural zero budget natural farming. Now what is zero budget natural farming over here means that we have to adopt certain kind of natural practices that does not incur cost. That means, for example, if you want a manure, so these manure can be originated from the cow dung or the animal or human waste, right? The other thing could be, let's say, a water. We have to depend upon the natural water, right? So these are what we are trying to say, that whenever we are saying the zero budget natural farming, so this is what they are trying to say, that there is a no addition of chemical fertilizers or pesticides, right? So it's a aim to reduce the greenhouse gas emission and improve the farmer income. The value addition from this point of view, that it will incur lower input cost and it will enhance the farmer profitability. It will further boost our export potential of organic produce because we are producing goods organically. So that will create a good market to export. Okay. Then, from environmental benefit, we could say this will improve our soil biodiversity because whatever we are using, these are all natural sources, and this also aligned with India's net zero emission by 2070. That was the climate goal that India has highlighted, and the policy integration that it has been integrated with national agroforestry policy that has been aligned with PM Kusum for renewable energy in agriculture. The examples and past relevance, we can say the foremost example is Andhra Pradesh zero budget national farming model has shown that has reduced the 25% of cost and it has improved the 30% of yield. Similarly, Gujarat's national farming success story from Anand district highlighted in state policy discussion the same kind of scenario. And the past relevance is simple that we are saying it is built under India's sustainable agriculture commitment under COP26 and is even strengthening the organic farming in India initiative that was introduced in Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Next news event is the launch of the national campaign hashtag Ab Koi Bahana Nahi to end gender based violence, right? So this is a national campaign that has been launched recently, that is hashtag Ab Koi Bahana Nahi, majorly to end gender based violence. Okay, so the objective is to raise awareness and take steps to end gender based violence through the public participation and also government initiative. The key feature is that a month-long initiative campaign has been launched with the grassroots activities. Grassroots in the sense from the rural area. That we are saying from the rural area, we are starting that we have to end the gender-based violence. These are also focusing on empowering the survivors and strengthening legal framework in case there has been a gender violence on a woman and yet they have been survived. So they have been empowering these survivors and they have said that okay, we will be strengthening the legal framework to help these survivors to take legal actions against whosoever has made violence on them, right? They have huge engagement of youth by awareness campaigns in schools and colleges that youth should be part of this to decrease the gender based violence in India. It's not just to decrease gender based violence, it is to end gender based violence, right? Ab koi bahana nahi, right? Like that. So it is encouraging the reporting of gender based crimes. That means we have to report more and more crimes if they are happening around you. There are several helplines numbers and the mobile apps. We have to even strengthen the legal framework for fast track justice. And the policy relevance is that it is linked to Mission Shakti and also to Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. And it has been aligned with India's commitment under Sustainable Development Goal number 5, that is gender equality. The outreach initiative could be the partnership with NGOs, social media campaigns, and introduction of mobile vans for rural outreach. Right. The example and past relevance could be that the previous examples we could say that this encourage report. The successful campaigns in Rajasthan has reduced child marriages by 15%. Similarly, Kerala's Kudambashri modeling empower women economically and socially. So these are the two examples. Similarly, the past relevance we could say this follows the global 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. It builds on lessons from India's past campaign like hashtag Me Too movement, right? If you can all recall hashtag Me Too movement, under which many women have said that not gender-based, they were sexually exploited or any kind of sexual misbehavior has been happened, all those with women. So there has been a campaign that okay, with the Me Too hashtag Me Too, I have faced such a kind of exploitation, right? So now there are several practice questions. Among them, the first is which of the following is not a principle of zero budget natural farming? Is it use of synthetic fertilizers? Saying it's a not, right? application of cow dung in urine for soil fertility, the focus on soil diversity, use of bioresource for nutrient management. So its correct answer is A, because they are using the synthetic fertilizer. So this is not a principle of zero budget, right? In zero budget, there will be everything is natural. Second question is, which state pioneered the adoption of zero budget national farming and showcased this significant success, right? So its correct answer is option B, that is Andhra Pradesh. Which international commitment aligns with the objectives of the National Mission on Natural Farming? Is it the Paris Agreement? Yes. COP26, net zero by 2070? Yes. Sustainable goal number 2, zero hunger? Yes. So correct answer is option D, all of the above. Which of the following is a key feature of Ab Koi Bahana Nahi campaign? Right, its key feature is youth awareness program? Yes. Legal reforms for speedy justice? That is also yes. The outreach through mobile vans in rural area? That is also yes. So again, the correct answer is all of the above. The campaign aligns with which sustainable development goal? I mean, the question has been missing under this. So it's correct is the life on land, I guess. Okay, I will make a correction in the PDF, then I will be uploading it. Okay. Now there has been a two descriptive question that I have added. Among them, the first is the essay question. Now read very carefully that under this they are asking to discuss the objectives, the implementation strategies, and expected outcomes of National Mission on Natural Farming. How does it align with India's climate goals and sustainable agriculture commitments, right? So these are the parts of question that we are saying. So if we answer this particular question, then first we have to define the National Mission on Natural Farming. Then we have to mention its launch under broader framework of sustainable agriculture. The objective is to promote eco-friendly farming practices, reduce dependency on synthetic inputs, enhance soil health and water use efficiency, achieve carbon neutrality in agriculture. Implementation strategy is capacity building of farmers through Krishi Vigyan Kendra, financial and technical assistance to the farmers, awareness campaigns on zero budget national farming, collaboration with state governments and NGOs for outreach, and the expected outcome is to increase farmers' income, improve soil fertility, enhance resilience to climate change, contribution to India's net zero target by 2070. It has been also been aligned with the climate goals like reduction in greenhouse gases, aligned with the sustainable development goal, that is number 13, climate action, and sustainable development number goal number 2, zero hunger, fulfills commitments under the Paris Agreement and COP29. The conclusion, we could say that it is emphasizing on transformative potential for a sustainable agriculture ecosystem and highlight the role in achieving food security and climate resilience. Simple. The next question is an analytical question, that is analyze the significance of Ab Koi Bahana Nahi campaign in combating gender based violence. So they are asking for the significance. We have to analyze the significance, first part. The second part is what lessons can be drawn from our past campaigns to ensure the effectiveness of these initiatives. So under this, whenever you are saying lessons from the past initiative, you have to get several kind of examples or the case studies if possible. Okay, so introduction would be a very brief about Ab Koi Bahana Nahi campaign, and also importance of addressing the gender based violence in India. The significance is, first, it will create awareness. It will target the rural and urban population through digital and on ground. It will break the silence around this gender based violence. Second is it will create a support system that will provide helpline numbers and legal aid for the victims. There will be a cultural shift. Third, to aim to change the societal attitudes through education and outreach. Then the lessons from the past campaigns is Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Mission Shakti, Post Act awareness campaign. So among this, there will be an importance of sustained funding in Beti Bachao. In Mission Shakti, they have integrated local governance bodies to increase their outreach. And under the POSH Act, the workplace has been sensitization and the grievance redressal mechanisms has been found. The recommendation we could say, use mobile-based apps and various helplines for easy access, collaboration with schools and colleges for youth engagement, and periodic impact assessment to track effectiveness. In conclusion, we could say we have to highlight the need for integrated approach to end GBV, that is gender based violence, emphasize the transformative potential of this campaign, right? So all these things that we have been you can write in your answer. So this is it from today's class. In the coming video we'll be covering more such kind of topics. Till then, stay safe and study well. Thank you.